What's good, guys? Today I'm going to be talking about how I scaled a clothing brand from 0 to 700k. This is going to be a three-part series. So today I'm going to do part one, which is testing. As you can see there in the screenshot, 700k. I got fully excited when I hit 500,000. That was like kind of a milestone for me. Didn't get to hit 1 million, but that was because I actually taught them the ads. By that stage, they knew my strategy and they carried it on for me. This was one of my clients, and as you can see, at 2019 right there, that's when it took off, and that's actually when I started. So as you can see, it's up to date, 5th of December. I think in January I stopped working for them, and it's now, what is it? It's February. So yeah, very recent, but I've just put the case study together now. This PowerPoint consists of the strategy I used on Facebook ads to get this result. Just basically want to say that just in case you thought I was going to do like websites or whatever. No, just purely Facebook advertising, purely what I did from cold interest, from ad creatives to, retargeting. I'm going to break it up into 3 different series. Let's hop into finding the winning ad creative. Mainly what I do, so this client had quite a lot of other competition. They were, out of their competition, they were ranking the highest. They were kind of in the top 10. So what I did do is look for the people that were the best in a niche, and if you go to Facebook and you scroll down to the right on a brand's page, you can actually see their ads if you use their page transparency tool, and then have a look through their ads to see what they're running and see if they're a bigger brand, they got like 300, 400,000 followers, they're doing probably millions, if not multi-millions, their ads are obviously working. So I have a look at their ads, get an idea of what I can put in there. This is just kind of key points that actually made a good ad, which that ad account actually was 5.56 return on ad spend. So yeah, so high return on ad spend. So firstly, keep the caption short. Obviously, Facebook and Instagram, especially Instagram, has younger audiences, so they have a short attention span. So as you can see here on Manny Devore, it's just simple, it's clean, it gets straight to the point. Don't make it spammy, obviously. I tend not to, unless you're like writing out a story on there for like other company purposes, just keep it really small, really short, really snappy. So just like Manny Devore's, they are dominating, clothing at the moment. Be clear about your business. So clear about what you do. So as you can see there, the leads in design and quality, straight to the point. That's their purpose. That's what they want to achieve. That's what they are achieving. So your audience instantly knows what you're about. So they don't have to go around looking. They instantly like, okay, so these guys are this. Let's go and have a look at their website, kind of thing. So make the image stand out. So as there's so many people on Facebook advertising, you really need to make your images stand out. This client actually was really good at doing that. They actually had very good Photoshop skills. They had like colors and like, it was really cool. They like blended in the image, that kind of thing. Even on the carousel, they would like make it so they kind of all linked up. So yeah, so as you can see on this one here, it's got a white border. That just makes it stand out from other people's posts. So people stop in the feed instead of just scrolling straight past it. So use emojis, just purely because they're eye-catching. It keeps in tone with Facebook and Instagram, so people use them, obviously. Don't use too many emojis, just use like one, keep it slick, keep it prestigious. I tend to see ads that have a click-through rate over 1%. I don't normally look at click-through rate just because all I really care about is return on ad spend and cost per purchase. But I would say the ad creatives that did work the best were over 1%, so maybe look out for that. If you've got multiple products, use the carousel. This is just a single image one here, but if you've got multiple products or using like DPA, yeah, you can just use as many as you want. But if not, if you're just a one product store or you're just promoting one product, just use single image because that comes up nice and big on the feed. For the client that I scaled 700k, we use carousel all the time. We didn't really use videos either. I think we used like one video. So let's go into the next one. All the brands I work with normally have a following base. So I normally use their Instagram and Facebook engagement custom audience to test an ad creative because that always works for me. But if you don't have a following, that's fine. Just use the interest targeting for those who, again, have no data. I always narrow it down by engaged shoppers. I just always have. I remember learning Facebook ads like 3 years ago using it. Just some guy was like, always use it. And I just always have. So I've never really changed it. It probably does work without, but engaged shoppers just, if you narrow it down by that, it's just people that have purchased. It's a behavior, so people that have purchased. So I always set the conversion event to purchase. I don't use anything else. Why would you want to optimize for anything else if you're just looking for purchases? Like, people optimize for view content, add to cart. It's the stupidest shit ever, unless you're retargeting, which I still use purchase anyway. But yeah, always conversion event purchase. To start off with, I use top tier countries. So just type in top tier countries into Google. You can actually copy and paste it into Facebook advertising, just put add bulk locations and then chuck it in there. The reason why I don't target worldwide, because obviously it has like third world countries that won't buy, and it would just get you a load of link clicks and skew all of your data. So don't do that. Stick with top tier countries. So what I do is keep testing within one campaign. This is for people who are using interest targeting. Keep testing different interests in one campaign. That's just because it keeps it neat. You can really see on the campaign what's actually working and what interests aren't working, whether the ad creative is working. I use £5 a day for each interest. It's honestly depending on your budget, but the reason I do this is because if your stuff doesn't work at a low budget, chances it's not going to work at a high budget. That's just what I've seen. So yeah, £5 a day. You can start as low as that. I wouldn't recommend any lower. I know you can, but I wouldn't recommend any lower. Also depends on how much your product is priced at. Most of my clients, 30 to 50 range. So £5 a day is fine. And then obviously that gets scaled up, but that's part 2. So Facebook feed and Instagram feed. I do sometimes use stories, but quite a lot of time when I'm testing, I just use Facebook feed and Instagram feed, just purely because you want to limit the variables. That's one thing with Facebook. You always want to limit the variables so you're able to scale. And then in the future, maybe try out different, like maybe automatic placements, like different placements, like marketplace, that kind of thing. Stories, I just tend to use for like stories a different actual different actual ad creative. So let's move on to the next slide. So rules. So this is basically the rules I keep on mind when I am testing within Facebook. So if the audience makes no sales by £15, $15, I just speak in pounds, I'm English obviously, turn the ad off. That's non-negotiable pretty much. I add 1 new audience / ad set per day. That is because Facebook has a momentum bias, so consistency and momentum bias. So if you add an ad set every single day, it will make your whole ad account better. They just see that as trustworthiness. When adding the new audience per day, change the interest just using the suggestions. Or just, if you're clothing only yourself, you probably know your competition. You probably know what your customers are interested in. Just use the suggestion box of the interest that work. So what I do for testing, I do this until I have 50 sales within the campaign. So this is when I solidly know that the ad creative works and the product works. It gives you enough data to be able to move on to scaling. You don't really want any less sales like that because you don't really know that you can put money into it if it's got less sales than that. That's for sure. I look at the ad account only once a day. I know some companies, you're on a stricter budget and whatever, but it works so against you if you start looking at it all the time because you just become paranoid. And I know you want to because obviously you want to see whether you make sales and stuff like that, but it's such a bad idea because you start adjusting stuff. Like time goes so slow, you start adjusting stuff and you want to leave it. It's an optimization platform and stop playing with all the variables. So yeah, so that again ties in removing yourself emotionally. If an audience doesn't work, which you're like, oh, that audience should work because they should be interested in this, or this ad creative works because I think it should work, that is the worst thing you could do. You've got to remove yourself emotionally. So yeah, guys, that was the end of part 1. Part 1's quite brief because to be honest, the ad creative side is like the testing and stuff like that is kind of like the basic side. I normally take care of the scaling side, but obviously I wanted to put that in because I know some people that watch the channel will want to know this. But yeah, so watch out for part 2 because it is much longer. And yeah, it's all about scaling. And then part 3 is about retargeting. I'm super excited for that one, and I'll see you in part 2.